28 countries. And she holds that high position. It's called an international marketing director. So, Stacey, with that, that's just kind of a brief introduction. I would like to bring you on, welcome you this evening, and ask you: is there any more about maybe your personal or professional background that folks would be interested in hearing about? So, welcome.
Thank you so much, Danny. Such a privilege to be on this Zoom tonight. I know you guys have served this community well for decades now, and it has been 2 decades for me with Juice Plus. And you're saying you celebrated 35 years. It's just really amazing. I love the longevity of this company. And if that doesn't speak volumes to most people, I don't know what does, because I jokingly say, there's only three things I've stuck with for over 2 decades. That would be Jesus, my husband Jarrett, and Juice Plus. So all the J's, and just very grateful to be here tonight.
Well, amen on that. I could say that too, I guess. You know, Debbie and I have actually been together about 40 years, but we've been with this company for 35 of those. So that's awesome. Now, speaking of Juice Plus, and you're going to talk with us a little bit about teaching and training here tonight. How did you initially maybe find out about the Juice Plus product or the company? How did that come about, or when? So the folks will kind of know.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think it's something we need to ask everyone, especially as we're going to be going to conference this week. Everyone you meet, just ask them, how did you hear about Juice Plus? What do you love about this? Why did you say yes? Because you can really gather a lot. And I think more than anything, you just see the diversity of the reasons why people say yes and their backgrounds and all that goes with that. So I was 24. Our son was a picky eater. He was about a year and a half old. I was frustrated that he wasn't eating well, and I was doing all I could to, get him to eat these veggies, and he refuses. If anyone's tried to make a toddler do anything they don't want to do, you recognize there's only so much, right? Teenagers or toddlers. And so I went to this trade show with a friend, and Sharon Farrar was there, and there was this table that had all of these fruits and vegetables on it. Now, it caught my eye because of Colin's pickiness, and I didn't really know about nutrition. I didn't know about disease prevention at all. I really just thought this might be helpful, whatever is here, to help my son. And so we started talking. We really connected well as moms. And I want to make sure that people understand that we talk about this on DMO Pro Zooms that I do Monday mornings. There's a difference between relationship and rapport. You can quickly make rapport with someone just by finding connecting points in your life. I felt like she was like me, I was like her. If she used this with her kids, it could work for me with my kids. She loved it. She was excited. I could love it. I could be excited. And so she sent me home with the cassette tape because it was 22 years ago. And I put that in my bag and then eventually on the counter. And then sadly, it went into a drawer. And we've all been there, right? And it wasn't that I was not interested, I just didn't know enough. And I even remember thinking, oh gosh, I don't want to fall for this. And then think 2 months later, I can't believe I bought fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Like, who would do that? I just didn't know. I was used to vitamins. I'd heard more about vitamins than I had this whole food side of the world. And so I eventually did listen to that cassette tape. She was very persistent and consistent in following up with me. And I will forever be grateful for her because it really did change the trajectory of our whole family's health picture. Not just be me and my husband, but our future children and my parents and his mom, and just some beautiful people in our life that we've been able to meet because of that. So that night, I really, as we watched the video, I put the connection together between disease and prevention. Now, Danny, that's not something I had ever connected the dots on, because I was used to, you ate what was quick, fast, easy, convenient, what tasted good, and then you avoided like a lot of sugar and soda because it was bad for your teeth, something like that. But I didn't understand that there was a connection between whole food nutrition. We're talking plants, plant food nutrition, and diseases like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, like those big things that we're wanting future prevention on, right? And even though when we were in our early early 20s, we still had our own health crisis. We didn't even recognize it. Illness was so common, it was our normal. So for my son, he had a rash on his face I could not get rid of. He was at the pediatrician's office often. He had a nebulizer. We had taken him to the ER multiple times for being sick. Now, mind you, he was only about 15 months old at the time. My husband had had pneumonia 4 years in a row. 4 years. He went to the Air Force Academy. His senior year, he almost died from pneumonia. Thankfully, the antibiotics saved his life, but man, it just wreaked havoc on his gut system. I never thought, like, how could we improve Jared's immune system? Like, how are all these antibiotics hurting him? Until I was introduced to this company and to this product and to this amazingly beautiful community that thought outside the box and doctors that were very forward thinking and that were teaching principles that are just now being accepted mainstream to everyone else 2 decades ago. And so that really did shape how I thought about nutrition and how I began to feed our family. We were thinking our 40-year-old selves will thank us for this someday, not even recognizing that within 6 months, 6 to 8 months, Jarrett had never even had an upper respiratory infection, and it has not happened again. And it's been 22 years. That was constant. That was a constant thing. I used Juice Plus as my prenatal with both of my girls, and very different pregnancies with them, and very few times of having to take them to the doctor's office, the pediatrician's office. I had gained new skills. Again, this community had taught me of a new way of thinking about how we fuel our body to keep our body healthy so that when we're encountering these, issues in life, we're able to fight it, we're able to repair, and we're able to move on. And I just saw that over and over, where as a child, I was sick all the time with strep throat. I feel like I reversed that disease process with our family in one generation through nutrition. And again, just eternally grateful that Sharon was willing to stick with me. I often ask her, like, what did you see with me in me at 24 that you would say yes and like keep connecting? And she says, I knew it made sense to you, and I just had to keep reminding you of that till you remembered it yourself. And I'm really glad that she did.
Yeah, that's, I think there's a lot of people probably fit into, the same situation that you're explaining and describing from the standpoint that, we think, well, Juice Plus is a company and Juice Plus has some products that it sells, but the education that people get by being around our culture and community. Because look, I'm raised in South Louisiana. We like to joke and say we deep fry everything here. If we could figure out how to deep fry bottled water, we could get people to consume more water down here. So the education is, hey guys, just come on in. The water's fine. No pun intended, but the education that we get, that's amazing, and I appreciate you sharing that. What I want to do, Stacey, is I know you have some information that you want to share with everyone, regarding our business and our in our personal and even our professional lives. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take off here and encourage everybody to take some notes. I've got my pen ready, and take it away.
Thank you, Danny. So one of the things you did ask too is like, what made me say yes to being a partner with Juice Plus? Now, I have to say it was the education. I just loved what I was learning, and it didn't take me long before I started thinking of people, even that one cassette tape, to where I was like, my parents need to know about this. My sister, I have a couple of friends, like, I think they're going to want to know about this. And I knew they were more likely to order from me than if I passed them off to Sharon that they didn't know at all. I barely knew her, right? So I just had this feeling like it would be smarter. And you had also mentioned in my bio, I am an entrepreneur at heart. My family was very entrepreneurial. My dad was. I saw him become a wealthy man when he had his own business, and I saw how he learned how to create wealth, and it was intriguing to me. I didn't see that when he worked 25 years for a company. And so even though I was entrepreneur minded, meaning I taught quilting lessons at 24. I know I was this old little soul as a young 24-year-old, but I just I loved the idea and the process of generating income. I loved finding a need, a skill that I had, something I had to offer. I would see a need in somebody else, and then I would offer that skill or that service to them, and it would generate income. And I'm still that way. And so I do remember at first I was hesitant. Like, I didn't know exactly what this would look like sharing Juice Plus. And I had some friends that had other home-based businesses that I wasn't really keen on. Like, one lady felt like she had to pack up her whole kitchen and bring it to somebody's house and set it all up and do these whole demonstrations. And I just thought, man, I think that would get old after a while. I liked the products, but I just didn't see myself doing that. Another one was scrapbooking. I really was into scrapbooking. Nobody scrapbooks now, very few people do. And again, the lady would have to have this huge inventory in her house because if you need a specific pen color or a paper pattern, she needed to have it there so you could buy it or another album. And so I saw that I had friends that were working from home and had home-based businesses in network marketing that were successful. I just hadn't seen how I would be able to really attach to that and find purpose and like love it, right? Even though I did like those things. So when I talked to Sharon, I asked her, is there a way to get this at a discount? Like, do they ever put this on sale? Which is just funny that I asked that. And she said something to the effect of, I'll help you pay for this like for the rest of your life, something to that effect. And I was like, okay, what does that look like? Like, I was totally fine of hosting a party, having some friends over, getting a discount. I was like, can I have a bag of free shake or something if I invite 10 people over? And so she started talking to me about the business. I do remember her asking, is there anyone you would like to share this with? And I said, yeah, my parents. I had that little list. And so I also remember that hesitancy of just unsure of what that would look like. Like, I didn't want to, I really had a heart to stay home with my kids. That was something really important to me. And I didn't want this to be like a distraction that kept my attention from them. Or I saw, women that worked outside the home, they were traveling a lot. And I just thought, how does that play out in our family dynamics? We were military, so I knew we were going to be moving. And I just wasn't sure about that. I wasn't sure about selling because people have a lot of negativity in their mind about selling. And I wasn't a business person really. I mean, I taught quilting lessons and I had a couple of other things. I generated some income, but I didn't see myself as like a businesswoman. I was young, right? So I had some hesitancies, but I just remember thinking, just take it one step at a time. Sharon said, I really encourage you to host an event. And I was like, I don't need to do that. I've got the officers' wives coming to my house. I'll just share with them there. And she was like, I don't know how well that's going to go. No, 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 I got this. I set up this Juice Plus shrine. We joke about it now. And it's like Vanna White. I present, like ta-da at the beginning of the meeting. Nobody rushed me with their credit cards. It was like crickets. And I was kind of a little surprised. Like, I thought they would love this. It took a couple of times of just doing it my own way that I realized I don't think that this is effective. And I remember telling Sharon, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to be effective. I don't want to just, I think of it now like be a sounding gong making noise. And I knew if I wanted to be effective with this, I had to get this into people's mouths, right? Like they had to take Juice Plus for me to help them. So I didn't want to just make noise and talk about it. I wanted to be helpful and I wanted to help their families get on Juice Plus. And so it was a couple of weeks where I realized I'm not doing really well at this. I better figure out what do I need to do? And so I went back to Sharon and I said, okay, I'm ready now. Tell me what we need to do. And so, that was something early on. I was teachable, not at first. It did take me 3 weeks, but I recognized like I do want this to work. And I loved the challenge. Like I was already a partner plus and QSC was next. So I was like, what's next? How many more do I need? How many more customers? How many partners do I need? I would liked the sort of the challenge of that. And so I just started following the system and having events was the big one. I did not know about nutrition, right? I knew nothing about nutrition. This community is very educational, but I wasn't. I had nothing to offer. But Sharon did because Sharon had been taking Juice Plus for a couple of years and she offered offered to do a presentation. So I was like, yeah, of course, you talk. I'll get the people here. And so that's what I did. And all of those people I had been talking to, I started three, five of them at a time, getting them to an event, and Sharon would present to them. And we would watch a video. She didn't even have to be the expert. She let Dr. Du Bois do the talking. We call those watch parties now. And people's like the light bulb went on their in their head because Juice Plus is a simple concept, right? It's the paradigm shift may be from vitamins to whole food nutrition, but like nutrition, fruits and vegetables in themselves really aren't arguable. Like everyone knows we need more of those. It's not maybe some people need more fruits and vegetables. Maybe it's good for some people to clean up their diet. No, it's kind of universal, and nobody's eating 7 to 9 servings of fruits and veggies. We can all use some help here. And I think most people intuitively know that as well, and sort of intuitively know maybe these chemical vitamins aren't the answer either. And so I really started to see that through her help, we could educate these people. They were open-minded to it through the relationships I had built with them, and they were ordering. And I had people that wanted to be a partner. My sister did, and my best friend Melissa, she's still on my team, all these years later, 22 years later, I still have customers from those first 6 months. And it just kind of started a little bit. And when you ask me, Danny, what do you want to talk about, Stacey? I kept thinking all day today, like anyone who knows me knows talking's not the problem. It's talking too long is probably going to be the problem. But like if I could wrap all of this of what does it take to be successful? Like when we're looking at not just being noise in people's lives, but actually offering something to them that is beneficial, that helps their lives move forward. What one word could I wrap all of that into? And the word kept coming back to me of consistency. So just being consistent. And so consistent with what, right? Like, okay, she says this, but what did that look like? Because remember, I mean, I've raised my family in this from pregnancy to now our kids are all out of the house, and two of them are married. Our next one is getting married in May, so that will be all three of them married. And that's pregnancy through toddlers, through preschool, elementary, junior high, high school, now to young adults. Like it's not like things slowed down or it was just the perfect timing for me to do this business. I had to find a way to be consistent enough to keep moving forward, to keep getting results, right? And I think that for most people, the distraction of life sort of hinders that consistency and also waiting for perfection. So most people wouldn't say that they're perfectionists, but it sounds something like this. You know, I just need to wait till I have this baby. After this, I have this baby, then it's going to be much better, and I'll be able to really get into sharing Juice Plus. Well, after the baby is weaned, then I'll be able to get back to an event. Well, potty training is just totally throwing me off here. After the baby's potty trained, once they're in school, well, once they're back in and not into sports so much, after this sports season, after summer, once they're back from summer break, once school starts back up, well, after the holidays, whatever that looks like, people are waiting for the perfect timing. And I was talking to my youngest daughter who's in the business with me, and I told her, I said this to her, and then I was like, that really is smart. It is true. I said, Brielle, it's all the little conversations. It's all of the little things that don't feel like work that is the work, right? And isn't that true about our lives? It's not just the big moments, just the vacations, just the holidays that make up our life experience and memories with our families. It's the little moments. It's all of the little things that is your life, the everyday part of your life, the breakfast conversation, the drive to school, the date night with your husband, right? Like it's all of those little pieces that make up life. And it's true with our business. It really is. It's all of those conversations, one person at a time, just reaching out, having a conversation, and that makes up the business. And so it's not just conference. It's not just the event that you host. It's not just the one conversation. And yet people will often base their whole business off of one conversation. I gave her information about Juice Plus. She never called me back. I texted her 3 times. She never even answered, totally ghosting me. She acted like she was interested. Obviously, this isn't for her. Maybe this isn't for me either. This is too hard. They can't take the waiting or maybe what feels like rejection to them, and they dismiss the whole thing. Or they host an event and they had 5 people that were coming, and then last minute, all plans fall apart and nobody shows up, and so back into their head they go. And she just said she was going to come, but she didn't really want to come. She just said that to be nice, and she let her conversations go and her day went too crazy, and so she just didn't make it a priority. I guess I'm not a priority to her friend. Like, man, we can go to some drama like fast, right? And it doesn't even mean any of that, and they're like, well, I guess this isn't for me then because nobody comes to my events. I just wonder, like, Danny, have you ever had events that nobody comes to? I have. There were quite a few events that I had that only one person came, and it was a partner. So we just did some training together, right? And then sometimes it was nobody would come. I would crank up the music, the kids and I would start dancing. We'd have the greatest time. We'd eat all the snacks I had prepared. The house was clean, so who cares? And then the next day I would follow up with those people and say, "Oh my gosh, you missed it. We had the best time." Well, they don't know who we is, and they don't know what the best time was, but darn it, they felt like they missed something. But don't worry, I have another one coming, and I was consistent about doing another event. So let's just talk DMO, daily method of operation. If you know me, that's my heart. It's so part of that consistency. It is the consistency part that moves us forward. And so having some sort of tracking system is really an important aspect to this. You've got to be able to write people's names down. You're not going to remember them. You're not going to just out of the blue, think of somebody and not remember, forget the other 2 people that you had conversations with. When it's all in your head, it just feels overwhelming and it feels like you're always dropping the ball. That's how I felt. And what I found was when I could really get consistent on my activity and writing that down, it got it out of my head onto paper. I was much more intentional about getting my work done, because I don't know if anyone else has felt this way. It was like I would be with my kids and then I kind of felt guilty that I was neglecting my business. So then I was doing my business, but then I felt bad that I was, neglecting the house wasn't perfect. Then when I was cleaning the house, I felt like, oh, I should be working with the kids. Like it was just this, constant juggle, I felt like, where I realized if I can write down what needs to be done, if I can write down those names, I get it out of my head onto paper. I'm much more consistent. And then at the end of that week, you see conversation after conversation that was had. And that made up the work week as I lived my life with my kids. And all through, they stayed home with me. They didn't go to daycare. We homeschooled one year. At the end of that year, I said, who can I pay to do this? It was so hard. I commend anyone who actually homeschools their kids, but I was like, okay, that was my why at that point. I will pay for private school for them to go to. But I say that because it's true. This business gave us options and opportunities that change throughout the years, right? Your why changes as you go 2 decades. It's not the same why I have now that I did then. And so it's consistently updating that why. Why do you want to do this? Why have the conversations? Why mess with the IT stuff that's been frustrating lately? Why have a conversation with someone for them not to get back to you? You're going to have more conversations where you don't get a response or you get a no than you do yeses. It just is. It's not an offense to you. It's not the universe attacking you and trying to hold you down. Most likely, it's your own subconscious mind. And so, with mindset, can you consistently grow? That's an important aspect. Can you consistently discipline your disappointments? We can get really stuck in watching every single training, getting on every Zoom, listening to every recording, being on Voxer. I mean, there's a lot of messages that come through on Voxer. We got to listen to each one of them, and we think like input, input, input. It is good to some extent, but if you have no output, if you have no way to take that information and then put it into action, you can feel like you're doing this business. I'm about Juice Plus. I'm listening to all of these calls. I am on every single one. I am caught up on Voxer, and that feels about as good as having a really organized desk. If you see my desk and it's organized, I haven't been working. If my house is perfectly clean, I probably haven't been working as much, right? Like something sort of has to be out of balance. There is no balanced life, really. What gets your attention at one time may make this not as much of a priority. And then other times that is a priority and this one's not as much. And that's fine. But be careful with the idea of growing your business of just input in. So when we're talking about activity out, what do I mean by that? Consistent activity, what does that look like? Well, the biggest one are two. I would say two of them are conversations, so talking to people, and events. Those two things. If not even customer care, like those two things are going to be wrapped up in everything. You're going to have conversations about to your customers. You're going to have a chance to invite those customers to another event to engage them and to help them remember why they ordered. But talking to people and events, those are the biggest two. So let me give you an example, just something super practical. This week we were going to some open houses in Lubbock, Texas, just for fun. Our daughter and her husband live there. And so there was a couple of different houses that had open houses. We love looking at those. And so we went and I said, oh, this could be my office. I said that about a couple of different rooms. And the lady was listening, the real estate agent, and she said, so you work from home? And I said, I do. And she said, what do you do? And I said, I help busy families simplify nutrition. I've done that for 22 years. And she just kind of had her eyebrows a little bit. She was like, hmm. And that's all was said, right? So I could have picked a lot of things to take that direction. I could have said, I own an Airbnb, which is true. We own an Airbnb that I run. And that's where the conversation would have gone. She could have said, oh, that's interesting. Where is this Airbnb, right? That would have gone in that direction. I have no influence or help in her life by talking about my Airbnb. I have no influence or help in her life by talking about a planner that I've designed and sell online. I know the biggest impact that I may have with her is to get into a conversation about health and nutrition. And she got both my husband and I, our information, and she texted me later that night and said, Stacey, you mentioned nutrition, and I really need to help our family get our diets cleaned up. I don't know what you do, but can you tell me a little bit more about it? I had no idea. I didn't know, but I had to plant a little seed so that there was a possibility of a conversation, right? And so that's super smart when you're talking to people and they ask you, what do you do? What's your answer? Do you say, I sell Juice Plus? Well, that kind of, they don't know what Juice Plus is, right? That's a brand name that they may not be familiar with. Like, what do you do? And so I just found that to be really effective. I help simplify nutrition for busy families and or busy people. If I know that they don't have kids, I can say busy people or busy teachers or busy doctors or busy whatever, right? Like everyone's busy, everyone likes simple. People are open to nutrition, and a lot of times they're looking for someone to be a guide to them. It's confusing, there's a lot of information. So just that one sentence has opened up a lot of conversations. Another one, I was at the store. This lady, super friendly. She worked at the counter. Loved the conversation we were having. And so I thought, I mean, before long, she's telling me about her mom, and her mom had a stroke and she was retired military. We were talking on that. Like, I just thought, I want to go to lunch with her. Like, we could be really good friends. I don't want to lose this connection. So I just kind of felt like, I don't think I can just jump into Juice Plus. She hadn't really asked me very many questions. So I said, I don't know if this is something you're interested in or not, but I'm going to be coming back here and teaching a sourdough class. Have you ever wanted to learn how to make sourdough? And she was like, I would love that. And I said, oh, good. Okay. My daughter lives here. I'm going to come back. I have some other friends that want to. Let me get your information and I'll let you know when our class is. And she was like, I love that. Like she said, she works at this store because she just was bored. She needed something to do. Hello, there were so many beautiful things about her. I was like, I will love her on my team, like someday. But that's not going to just happen, right? Like, I didn't just say, hey, do you want to marry me? I mean, be on my team. Like, it would just be odd. Like, you just don't say that right there. There's a time and a place for that question, but it's not usually on the first meeting. So I had to find a way to bring her into our circle that would appeal to her. And that was it. So she gave me her information. So having conversations is important. It's making friends. Don't go out in life just thinking, I need to go have 5 conversations about Juice Plus today. You want to go have 5 conversations with people. What are their needs? What's going on in their life? Can you ask questions? Can you lean in? Can you repeat back to them what they're saying? Can they be heard? Like, can you really listen? Or are you talking the whole time where they don't even get any words in edgewise? They don't care what you have to say. They don't. They really do care about what they have to say. So let them say it. Be a safe place that people can talk. And they're going to tell you, they will lead you right there every time to where you're like, well, now I have to tell you about Juice Plus. Like the conversation is going to go here. I have something that I think could help with that. Have you ever thought of the role that nutrition plays in XYZ, whatever they're talking about? And then just let the conversation flow from there. So, can you have effective conversations to where you're able to move them forward? You're consistently giving them the next step, another resource, and inviting them to an event is one of the best ways to bring them into this community, to bring them into this education, and for their knowledge to expand to where Juice Plus does make sense to them, and consistently asking for the sale. We don't want to just be noise in people's lives. We're here because we're building a business. I'm here because I'm building a business. Because if I'm not building a business, I'm not helping people. My paycheck is a reflection of the number of people that I'm helping. When you can really grasp a hold of that and you hold on to that and know that truth and you speak that truth to yourself, then that changes how you show up in a conversation. And it changes the way that you invite somebody to partner with you on the journey of taking Juice Plus, on the journey of sharing Juice Plus. But if you have any hesitations or reservations in your mind about building a business or making money, if that somehow feels slimy to you, you will be slimy to other people, or you will hold back and you won't go there. You won't even let yourself build a business. So really think about what is your mindset, consistently working on that mindset about money and about business and about your skill set. Skills are developed in the doing, not just in the hearing. It's in the doing. You're going to not do it so great sometimes, but that's okay. You just evaluate that. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Evaluate it and then decide, okay, I'm going to change these things. I didn't really like the way that came across. I can use a different verbiage in that. And you just consistently keep going forward with team members. With three-way calls, with conference, with events, with local events, with invitations to those events. It's little by little by little, one person at a time that you start to build this business. And then that conversation adds to this one, and that customer adds to this customer count. And before long, you've got 24 customers, and now you're qualifying your business and you're working towards partners, and those partners are adding conversations and connections, and you're helping remind them, hey, what about your aunt? You talked to her. How did that conversation go? Let's invite her to this event. And your next step thinking with your partners, your next step thinking with your customers, always with an open heart and like, come on along. Let's do this together. That's what builds the business. It's not the start and you do a ton of activity and you wear yourself out and then you stop and you get discouraged because some of those people cancel. Yeah, people cancel. I don't have thousands of customers. If nobody canceled ever, I would have thousands of customers, right? Out of 22 years of sharing, I don't want thousands of customers. I would rather have thousands of team members, but I don't want to have to take care of thousands of customers, right? So People cancel, people get distracted, people choose a different product, they go somewhere else, but team members get distracted less. They will stay on Juice Plus longer. That's why everyone gets an invitation to my team. Whether they are like a yes or a no or not right now, that's fine, but they deserve to hear about it. It's person by person, all the little activity that doesn't feel like the work, that is the work. So I just want to challenge you tonight as we close. What might be your distraction that you're getting so involved in that it keeps you from doing the work? Is it the perfection? It's got to be the right timing. I don't know if I'll say it right. I'm just really not great at speaking in front of people. Those are skills, guys. Those are developed in the doing. Is it your mindset thinking, who am I to build a business? Who's going to listen to me? I'm not a business person. I don't have the verbiage that she has. That's a comparison. It's a cancer to your mind. It's a cancer to your heart. It will steal your joy when you compare yourselves to other people. What's that distraction that keeps you from doing the events? Saying, my home isn't big enough. I have dogs. I can't have people over at the house. Find a coffee shop locally and invite people over to that. Find a way. Find a way. You can make money and you can build a business, or you can make excuses, but they don't go together. They don't play well together. One is going to block the other. One is going to find a way to make it happen, and the other one will find a way to stop the happening. So it's all of those little things, one by one, all of those conversations that make up this business, that make up the life that you want to live, to have the options and the choices that money affords us. It's not money that is evil, it's the love of that over people, over good choices. But good people do good things with good money. Can you catch that? Good people do good things with good money. It's okay to be successful in this. You want to be that. And so I hope that I've shared some nuggets with you that will just get you thinking, get you motivated as we go to conference. If you're not able to come to conference, don't worry about that. We're going to bring the information back to you. And it's not, maybe it just wasn't the right timing for you, or maybe you let those excuses come in. Don't miss the next one. And don't miss plugging in to the calls that we're going to have that update you on a new product. I happen to know what it is. I'm pretty excited, but I am going to tell you this. I can't tell you details, but I am going to tell you this. You need to have two events on the books for after conference. Two events that you already have flyers, you already have it booked. You've got two events for people to be invited to, people that you've already spoken to, and maybe even like stronger emphasis on the ones that said no or not right now. Okay. Bring those people to your list. Start listing those out. Have two events, and be ready to get these events. A watch party is fine, a local coffee chat, whatever you want to do, but have two of them that you can invite people to, because the incentive that the company's got coming on, like when they told us this, I was like, you're crazy. Like, are you serious? And we even questioned them, like, are you sure you're going to do that? Like, it's really good, guys. You don't want to miss it. So put things in place in your calendar so that you can really take advantage of this. And you're going to thank me later for this little piece of nugget that I just gave you. But Danny, thank you so much again for having me on here tonight.
Well, Stacey, thank you so much. I've got my journal here and I've taken quite a few notes. And I don't want to recap everything you said, but guys, there were some big nuggets that came out of this. And I encourage you to post your takeaways or your ahas, on your social media or the areas that we have. I do want to just, 35 years around, and I've got a few things here, Stacey, that I really want to kind of think about and reiterate with some of the folks there. Again, I don't want to go through your whole presentation, but consistency, I think that's a huge key word in what you focused on tonight. And I like what you said about, we're not consistent because we think we let life get in the way, or we're waiting to be perfect, or we're waiting for the perfect time. Those are some of the things that I wrote down. You're talking about, not trying to remember everything with prospects. I heard one time that a sharp pencil is much better than a long memory. So, writing things down, like you said, input without output. Wow. We can learn all this stuff, but then we're not utilizing it. what good is it doing? And one thing that really hit, and want people to listen to this again, but you talked about what you do. You didn't just say, "Oh, I sell Juice Plus." What do you do? And that leads into conversations with people versus just maybe an opinion or yes or no or something like that. So, conversations and the dating analogy, I like that. You don't walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, will you marry me?" There's usually a process there, maybe over months or years to get to that point. Same thing with exposing this to people and the next step thinking and building a business. So those are just a few of my little nuggets that I took away from this tonight. And I appreciate you sharing with us, Stacey, so much. Hope you guys took good notes there. Did you have anything you wanted to leave us with before we close it out?
The only thing I wanted to mention, in case anyone's asking or thinking, okay, where can we get something where we write all of these things down, right? A notebook. Danny, you have a notebook. A notebook is fine. Just be consistent in writing in that notebook so that you're not writing on sticky notes and napkins and the back of this piece of paper that gets shoved in this backpack that's at the bottom of your purse. Like somewhere that you designate, this is my Juice Plus work notebook, whatever that is. There are DMO planner sheets on boards that you can print those off week by week. And then I designed the DMO planner, thedmoplanner.com, and it's a 6-month book in one place so that you don't have a bunch of papers everywhere. And this is the consistent activity that we do that builds our business. So tracking the events that you're inviting to, what do you have going on that week? What are you doing to really personally grow this week? Who are you having new conversations with? Who are you going to follow up with? What customers need your attention? Partner care and three-way calls. And then even if you're like, I don't know what to do, what do I post about? What activity do I do? These are suggested activities that are different every week, and then they repeat every 5 weeks. But again, it's one place that you can consistently go to. I can take this anywhere. You can take your notebook wherever you need to go with it, to where when you've got those down times, you're not just on your phone scrolling and wasting time. You can be intentional and get things done. Send out a text message. Project Broadcast is an excellent service. It's a company that pay money to each month, and they help you be able to send messages to hundreds of people at one time. I can invite 400 people to an event in our local area. I couldn't copy paste 400 times, but because of these lists I've built out, because of these events that I've done and these people I've collected, I can send a message to them. So systems are super important. Without systems, it's going to feel chaos. Chaos, it just, consistently will hold back your activity. It will slow you down. So systems, where without systems, chaos abounds. With systems, things get into order, and that's where you can consistently keep moving forward. So that's what I would really suggest. Find something, whatever works for you. I needed something that was all in one place, and I designed this because it fit my own need. I saw other people needed that as well. And then that's when I went to have it printed and share that. Find something, just be consistent with it.
All right, and somebody just put in the chat thedmoplanner.com. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So, guys, if you don't have a system that you're using that's effective, then you may want to check that out. But you have to have some type of system to keep your arms around all this. Stacey, thank you so much. This was wonderful tonight, and I know all the folks enjoyed it. The chat's been going crazy over there, and since I'm a guy, I can't really multitask, so it's hard for me to read them and pay attention here all at the same time. But I know there's a lot of great comments there. We really appreciate you coming on with us tonight. We want to thank you for that. One last thing that I want to just mention, you guys, not going to take a lot of time, but May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th here in the Baton Rouge, Louisiana area, we're doing a Swamp Stomp boot camp. We started this actually in 1995, 30 years ago, but it's our 26th time to do this. And people, what happened to those 4 years? Well, we flooded in Louisiana and we had COVID and we had some things that kind of got in the way over the years. But Travis Garza is going to be here along with many other people. And so if you want to, continue this training like this, you want to continue getting the information that you need to be successful with us, we want to invite you to that weekend, the Louisiana Swamp Stomp Boot Camp. Check your social media sites, the events for Juice Plus, wherever information is out there for that weekend. It's going to be a great time here in South Louisiana. Stacey, thank you guys. Everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. We are going to let you unmute so that you can tell this wonderful speaker we've had here tonight good night, and we appreciate you so much. We'll see you in San Diego in a few days.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you,
Stacey.
Thank you, Stacey. That was amazing.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you.
Danny, what were the dates of the swamp?
Thanks. Awesome.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you, Stacey. That was awesome.
Yeah, boot camp here is May 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Someone would ask that, so I'll just throw that in. Thank you, guys.
Relatives there.
Thanks, Stacey.